All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Peak Natty podcast. Today we have Liam Gordon on with us today. Liam, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself for everyone who doesn't know you, kind of just like your age, where you're from, what got you into bodybuilding, how many times you've competed, just a quick little bodybuilder overview.
Yeah, what's up, guys? I'm from Ottawa, Ontario. I just competed my first time back in June and August in Ottawa. Went to Nationals, Toronto. And I started lifting like 5 years ago. I've always been fascinated by, impressive physiques and whatnot, and just kind of optimizing health and performance. So, I've been training for about 5 years, decided to do my first show last year, the regional Ottawa show, and it went really well. Met a lot of great friends through that.
Just describe really well.
So, right, novice, true novice. I won. I actually did not win junior.
Okay.
Guy beat me there, but then I won my open class and I ended up losing to the same guy in juniors for the overall.
Overall, okay.
So,
Where were you? How many classes were on stage for you guys for the overall? Was it 4?
it was 3 for regionals.
Okay. How many? So, do you think you took second or third? Because I know they don't really place the overall, right?
Yeah, who knows? Actually, really messed up my peak because I was coaching myself.
Mm.
You make some emotional decisions. It's your first time. I practiced some carb ups before, but I'd say I spilled over quite a bit for finals. I was, kind of stress eating.
Okay. Yeah.
A lot from regionals to nationals. I really improved my peak there.
How did nationals go?
Really well. I won junior. The guy actually wasn't competing who beat me junior at regionals. I'm not sure why he didn't go to nationals, but then I got second in my open class.
So you won juniors at nationals.
Yeah. Actually, a lot of people don't know I did classic and men's physique at regionals, but I did so well in men's physique, so I qualified for nationals for that. So I won junior, which is 23 and under.
Yeah.
And then, open class B, I got second place.
Okay. And then what league? What's the league called in Canada?
So it's the IFBB.
Oh, yeah, it's still the same. Yeah. What's the one that they take? That's like, do you guys just have WMBF up there, and then the NPC tested IFBB route, right?
Yeah. So the US is NPC, but Canada is actually CPA, Canadian Physique Alliance.
Okay.
But it's essentially the same thing.
Okay. So you went to like our national showdown here. We have the Ben Wieters and the Pittsburgh Pro now. So what's your guys' nationals called? And you guys have a couple of them as well, right? Or just one?
There's Toronto, there's BC. This one, I think it's just the Toronto Natural Pro Qualifier.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure is what it was called.
And in this one you took second in open?
Yeah. So I didn't go to the open.
Bro, so you were
I'm really happy with that.
So you were one spot away from going to the overall, or you went to the overall?
No, one spot away.
Okay.
And guy who plays in front of me is, quite a bit older. I have a lot of admiration for this guy and respect for him. He's huge.
Okay.
He's definitely got a lot of muscle on me. So yeah, that went really well. Now I'm taking a decently long off season.
How long?
My plan is to go back for 2027.
Okay. Yeah, solid. So about like 1 full year off.
Yeah. And, after nationals, I started my coaching business. So I'm still taking on clients for that. But I'm more focused on my clients right now and their success for this next year while I take my time to really grow for 2027.
Dude, that's 100% how it is. You'll see once you go through your prep in 2027, it's kind of like a lot of bodybuilders talk about this. You kind of you keep the boat afloat while you're going through prep, and then you actually grow the business in the off season because, dude, managing everything in prep with a, full coaching business is very, very difficult. Obviously, if you manage your time, it's totally doable. But like everyone knows, man, like when you're in the off season, you just have so much more attention, so much more energy to put into other things.
Yeah, it's hard to even remember where I leave my phone or keys when I'm on prep, let alone run a business. I was also doing a landscaping business at the time.
While going through prep?
I was on prep this year.
Sure, that got you some good steps, right?
I just stuck to mowing lawns because it's straight steps, pushing a mower, low impact, not carrying stuff around. So that was my grind during the summer, during prep.
What's your decision to coach yourself? Is it, just walk me through your decision to coach yourself and not get a coach, especially for your first show?
I'm a little bit stubborn. I like to do what I want to do, and I like experimenting. I like learning about all these things. It was really when I started, diving into rabbit holes about physiology and just the biochemistry behind things because I'm super interested in it. And just making my own decisions. I'm also pretty introverted. Just having somebody else to stay accountable to is almost another stressor for me. I'd rather just look in the mirror and make my own decisions rather than send check-ins, wait, be back and forth trying to make decisions. I also know my body quite well. I've been paying quite close attention since I started training. I've paid very close attention to my nutrition. So having someone else try to learn all of this while I'm on prep, because I already got super lean too on my own. So when I actually decided to compete, it was probably 10 weeks out, and I didn't really know anybody either, because picking the wrong coach, I've noticed in other people, things can go really sideways.
Yep.
So there's the risk factor in picking the wrong coach versus just doing it myself and, being accountable. If I mess up, I mess up, and it's all on me. Versus, if someone else messes up, sure, it's on them, but it's just the risk factor and the trade-off for how I'm going to look.
And that's a really good point with picking the wrong coach, because there's a lot of coaches out there. I kind of hate sometimes, bro. I talk my crap sometimes because, bro, there's coaches that are charging a lot out there that do these cookie cutter approaches, man. They just copy and paste the same exact type of peak for every client. They just copy and paste the same exact type of training program for every client. And it just saddens me that people pay a lot of money for coaches that don't do anything individualized, don't look at the data, and just do the copy paste old school approach that their coach did on them back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Everyone has DMing a coach in their bio now. There's very few people who are really serious and are willing to give you that same attention that I was giving myself when I was doing it. So that's what I try to do for other people now, is really giving that attention to detail.
What was your self check-in process? So I know my coach, he coaches himself too, and he'll take photos as if he'll take photos as if he's sending them to a coach, and then he will send them to himself on WhatsApp, then go do something for 30 minutes or whatever, get his mind off of it, and then come back and then self-coach himself as if he's a whole nother person. He's very meticulous about it. So how did you do it?
Interesting. To me, it was kind of moment to moment, right? I would know in this moment, if I'm flat, if I'm depleted, I'd have my check-in spot by the window. Good lighting. So I check in every morning. I take my body weight every morning. I'd actually journal in my notebook too. Instead of a check-in sheet, every morning I would journal. So I journal an entire page, my thoughts too.
Wow.
It's really kept me accountable on prep. So I do my body weight every morning, my calories yesterday, my steps, how I'm feeling, all that stuff. So that's my check-in process, same as the check-in sheet, but I just had my own notebook. It also tracked my lifts in, so I had like a page for each day on
Dude,
prep.
super cool. Super cool.
For my goals, all that stuff. And then I check in whenever I felt like it, really in natural lighting outside, just to see how I'm looking. Especially on peak week, I check in like at least 3 times a day. That was in the morning too while I train. So it was usually a morning check-in before cardio while I train. I'd have, this is all videos on my phone that I can compare. And then before bed, usually I would check in again, and I could just have them all organized in my camera roll to like scroll past, just to see how, I'm changing, given the data I have in my notebook.
Did any elements of like body dysmorphia ever creep in for you?
Yeah, of course, especially without a second set of eyes.
Yeah.
The best reasons to have a coach is just to have a second set of eyes. Yeah, it's like I got pretty flat and depleted, thinking I was a bit fat my first time.
That's how it is, bro. You always never realize how shredded you are until you look back on photos.
Yeah. So, yeah, I didn't realize how shredded I was, really.
What'd you do different on your second peak for nationals, where you almost went to the overall?
So first time I really spilled over.
Okay.
Because I was also doing classic. Now, like men's physique, I like to bring a little bit of a flatter look.
Mm-hmm.
I have less muscle mass than most of the classic guys. I was probably the lightest guy on stage too. So I just did a much more conservative carb up. It was more of a linear load. And it was like plus 100, plus 150, plus 200 carbs. And then I backed off the day before, and I didn't eat much at all on show day. Versus the first time, it was like plus 700, plus 800 backload. And then I backed off the day before, and I did like a slight carb bump the night before. And then on show day, I was super stressed.
Stress kills physiques.
So true. So I made some emotional decisions. I also had somebody telling me like, because I was like peeled, right? I was still really lean, and someone's like, "Oh yeah, you can keep eating carbs." So I was like, "Oh, this guy's a coach. I'll trust him." So I just like, I had Rice Krispies with honey and like a big bowl. I just ate like, I had multiple hundreds of grams of carbs on show day.
Yeah.
Which I didn't need.
Yeah. And dude, honestly, carbs hit the next day. Like if you're not full, there's not much you can do on show day already,
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
and you want your waist empty too, dude. I barely have my clients eat anything on show day. I want that waist and that GI as empty as possible.
Maybe like some cluster dextrin or something, but really eating volumes of food is not going to do anything besides sit there, especially with less water. If you do that, I don't really cut water on show day too much.
Yeah, what I do is I have them rehydrate in the morning, and they'll have some water in the morning, and then I taper off at, say the show's at like noon, I taper off at like 8 a.m. and just have them naturally dry out.
Yeah, I'll only manipulate it really if they're not fully in condition. Like I had a guy come to me who wasn't fully in condition, like 3 weeks out. He's like, "Can you help me peak?"
Give them some natural diuretics, bro. Those things will dry you out.
You use diuretics for your clients?
Not normally, only if it's a rush, only if they're dumb and they want to do a shotgun prep and you have to rush things. But dude, natural diuretics will get you crispy dry, especially I really like the Evogen one, the Evogen like water loss one, water loss matrix, whatever it's called. It'll get you crispy dry and you won't be holding any water. But the problem that people forget about that is, guess what happens when you don't have any water? When you're nice and dry, you're real flat. So you lose your pop, you lose your muscle size. So there's always going to be a perfect balance of fullness and dryness. But with guys that I just don't have enough time with, and I have to like shotgun them into a show, especially like a men's physique where being sharper is almost more important than being full. I've used it a couple times, but in the recent, I haven't even used it since like last September was the last time I used it. So in very, very rare cases.
Yeah, I don't tend to either. If I do something like that, I like to load the same amount of water kind of in the front end of the day, load electrolytes in the front end of the day to drive up diuresis, and then just taper off at night. So it's a gallon of water or 1.25 gallons of water in the day. I'll just have them drink that earlier in the day so that they're just, excreting more during the night. So they'll wake up a bit drier, even though we didn't really change the amount of water. Because, right, loading water in the front of the week, driving up diuresis.
Dude, it just dehydrates you when you're drinking so much water that you flush out all your electrolytes. It's so dumb.
Exactly. So I'll have them flushing a bit more just by front loading the water the day before and then tapering out the night before, and then kind of assessing in the morning how much they need to fill back up to get to the weight we set at the right look. That's typically my approach if someone needs to lose water. But really, if you have no if you have no fat, there's nothing in the subcutaneous space anyways. Like, you don't need to manipulate these things. Just don't go overboard.
Yeah.
Water, you're not going to hold any there.
I usually just have them do a little black coffee, get the caffeine diuresis going. If they're already in stage condition. Yeah. The only time some people are more watery than others. Like, I'm a really watery person, as far as holding water goes. And the way to tell that is just by seeing, how much weight you float overnight. Like, dude, I remember there were times in prep where I'd go to bed like 8 pounds heavier than I woke up. Because, I'm a bigger individual, right? I'm like almost 200 pounds on stage. And so with guys like that, with myself, I actually want to test out what I didn't use any natural diuretics the last prep. I want to test out what like a half dose would do. But yeah, guys like that, they can definitely have a little bit of benefit, but I definitely think some coaches just absolutely overdo it. They dehydrate the hell out of guys, and guys will get like rhabdo like symptoms from that. Once they gain a bunch of weight, once they are rehydrated after their post-show meal and all that. So it definitely like can have a use, but dude, there's these old school coaches, bro. They use it for every client all week. Give them the burger and fries on Friday night. So bad.
Yeah, bro. Burger, fries, and a diazide is like the worst thing you can do.
So funny, bro.
And that's like also changing carb sources for the carb up.
Mm-hmm. Like, you don't use the Sam Sulek candy method, bro.
Yeah. Dude ate like 10,000 calories.
Yeah.
It's
just you're just asking.
That's the thing. If it works, it works.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to just throw away some science, like if something really works.
It's also different for enhanced guys, not really because of gear, but because they're so much bigger. Like, dude, when you're 250 lean on stage, you need a lot more carbs to fill out than someone who's a buck.
The first time, right? Because I'm not that big. I'm natural. I'm doing men's physique.
Yeah.
I find like men's physique peaks are more similar to like a woman's division peak. The way you get like a more linear load. Rather than a massive back load or something.
What are your goals for coaching? What are your goals for your coaching business? Do you like eventually want to be like an elite bodybuilding coach, or do you want to do everything, or do you want to like kind of just get guys shredded, do a lot of lifestyle? What's your kind of coaching end goal? Because obviously you're very knowledgeable, and I look forward to seeing some of the guys you put on stage here coming up. But tell us your goals for coaching.
Yeah, dude, I love the whole natural bodybuilding thing. I really want to put an emphasis on natural bodybuilding and bring that back because it's lost some popularity recently. So I really just want to get as many client wins as possible in the natural leagues and show people what's possible naturally. Kind of make a statement that you don't need gear, you don't need peptides, whatever everyone's pushing on social media to really have like a peak Natty physique, like your philosophy. I really like the natural coaching side of things. and just help people. My philosophy is being the best version of yourself, and bodybuilding is one of the best mediums to really put yourself in an environment where you have the potential to become the best version of yourself. So helping other people do that, no matter what their goals are, because not everyone's goal is to be a bodybuilder, but to have an elite physique, elite health, elite performance, metabolism, all these things is what I help people with. So as many people as I can help is really my goal.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is just like the lack of knowledge out there, dude. Like people think to chase their dreams of being an IFBB pro, they have to hop on gear. People don't even know that there's a natural league, you know, that me and you both compete in, where you can go to natural nationals and become a tested IFBB pro. So I think one of my biggest goals is just getting that out there and showing like, yeah, a lot of people are on gear in the fitness industry and have made it, but there's also plenty of naturals that have made it as well. And I think a lot of teenagers think you need it if you want to make it, right? They have this dream of bodybuilding for a living full time, doing social media, and they're like, I need gear, I need to go that path. But in reality, there's plenty of naturals that have made it and get to do it full time. And there's plenty of ways to chase your bodybuilding dreams naturally, whether it's OCB, the IFBB tested route, WMBF, INBA, tons of routes, man. So that's one of my main goals. So that's super cool.
What year in the IFBB, it would take me way longer to get a pro card.
Yeah,
I already got second at nationals. The ceiling of the pro card is not that much higher than what I already placed. Like, whereas if I hopped on gear, I'd have to gain a lot more muscle to really compete in the untested federation.
Yeah, those guys are huge, bro. They're 250 lean on stage, bro.
That'd take me years, whereas now to have enough muscle to get my pro card naturally, it's actually much easier to get my IFBB pro card.
Yeah. And dude, like another thing, we lift, like, right, we build our physiques. Part of it is aesthetics, part of it is looking good. Bro, I was just at the Arnold. Andrew Jacked was next to our booth, bro. His face is destroyed, dude. He looks like he's 70 in the face, man. It's sad how much blasting gear like destroys your aesthetics, which is like one of the things we train for, you know?
Yeah, people really lose the meaning of bodybuilding nowadays, I think. You're really trying to like have the best physique, have the best aesthetics possible. On the beach, if you have some massive distended gut, you're not going to have like that's not aesthetic, right? So it's honestly easier to be aesthetic as a natural, like less bloating, less variables to control. And what happens when you come off of gear?
Mental, bro. Destroyed.
Now your hormones are cooked. You're going to have a rebound phase. So yeah, lots of reasons to stay natural.
Yeah, tons of reasons, man. Well, when do you have your first client competing on a show?
I actually have a client. He competed same show you just did with your client. Is his name Justin?
Yeah, Justin. OCB?
Yeah, the OCB show in Texas.
You had a client in that?
Yeah.
Who was it? That's sick.
His name's Travis Gully. I saw also, Knobs lifts, the science-based lifter.
The one that did classic on Echo. He has like an Echo Vision code, I think.
Yeah, he's like kind of a troll, but
yeah,
I follow him. I like him. And he was on stage with my client.
Okay, so your client did classic.
Yeah, he went to the overall, but the overall winner was quite a bit older. Yeah.
I saw. I caught the overall, man. He was, bro could be a Natty IFBB pro, dude. He was huge, but he's really old, so yeah. Super dope. Yeah, I just had Justin in men's physique. That's really cool. I didn't know that. How was it? How was your first? That was your first one, right?
Yeah.
How was the overall experience? How did you load him? How did you feel? How did you feel post too?
Yeah, he's doing another show pretty soon.
Okay.
Right now. So he came to me pretty much later, a couple weeks out, maybe 3.5 weeks out.
Yeah, hey, you can't, as a coach, man, you can't do much with that. But yeah, tell us what you did with him.
I'm pretty proud of how I peaked him, to be honest. He wasn't quite in condition, which is interesting when it comes to peaking, right? Because now you kind of want to manipulate water when they're not fully in condition. And that was the other reasoning I told him I'm doing this next show. So he's a bit leaner this time, but it was just a few weeks of fat loss. So what can you really do for this next one? But last time, he was also not doing super bodybuilding-ish cardio. He was doing a lot of running, rucking.
That's how, guys, if you're listening to this and you want to get on stage for a bodybuilding show, don't run, please. Please don't run.
Unless it's something super low impact. Like if you're on the beach, like on sand, that's slightly different. But if you're running on asphalt with a heart rate like over 120, over 140, you're just destroying your joints. You're probably burning a lot of glucose. Definitely don't run like traditional running. But yeah, he was only eating like 3 meals a day.
Okay.
So I got him on like 4 meals a day now, which is enough. And doing more incline treadmill. So we just so I dropped his calories a little, had him doing more bodybuilding cardio, 4 meals now. So we just kind of set that baseline, got him to lose a bit more fat in those couple weeks. And then start a peak week, I just cut out all of his cardio. Like I think he's still running, still rucking and stuff. So cut all that out, just like 30 minutes treadmill a day. And I did like a linear front load because I've never tested carbs with this guy. He's not fully in condition. So there's more chance of spilling over subcutaneous if you're not like fully shredded. So it was kind of just like linearly loaded carbs in the front end of the week. And he just kept looking better and better. So eventually just tapered off and kind of dried him out like 3 days out. And then like 1 day before increased his carbs again. I did that water thing, like I said, front loaded water, front loaded his meals in the day. So then after dinner, there's like no water, just peeing all night. And yeah, he woke up super dry, which was good. So like, I think I peaked him pretty much as perfectly as I could.
That's sick. That's sick. What show are you guys running next? Another OCB show?
Yeah, OCB show.
Okay.
Actually on a Sunday.
Cool. How do you teach them posing as well?
I'll just like give them some recommendations for check-ins.
Okay.
But posing's already like good.
Oh, his posing's already good.
Nice. I do hop on calls with all my clients. I have another guy who's 15 weeks out.
Okay. In the States or up in Canada?
He's up in Canada.
Okay.
He's doing the Ottawa show.
Would that be CPA or would that be WMBF?
The CPA. This is a show I did last year.
Okay.
So he goes to my gym. He's just away at school now. But his posing needs some work, so we do every couple weeks. We were doing every week before, but now every couple weeks I'll hop on a call. I'm gonna help him out in person too.
Yeah, run through it. Yeah, teaching posing is a lot easier in person, but now you can get it done over a call. That's cool, man.
Yeah.
Super cool. Well, let's get into some educational stuff. And before we get into that, so I know you took J3U. Who, just out of curiosity, who put you onto that? Because I think it is a great course. And then have you taken just the level 1, or have you done any of the extra ones like the hypertrophy and all that?
Just level 1. I love J3 though. I watched the free YouTube videos like 50 times while I was on prep trying to learn all this stuff. And that's really what taught me the most. For my own just self-coaching. I listen to every podcast every week. So I was like, you know what?
Your podcast, bro. Every single one. They're so good.
I listened to John and Luke for like so many hours. But yeah, I just got so much free value from them. And as a coach now, not just coaching myself, helping other people, I just wanted that, full foundation, just everything right there for me. Something I can also refer back to when I'm making my decisions. I just have something behind my name, right? Because I don't have a CPT. I'm not trying to personal train at a gym.
Yeah.
Those are very beneficial for what we're doing, like ISSA or
Yeah, dude, not at all. J3 is the move. Like I always tell anybody that is trying to, become a coach, like I'm like, dude, honestly, invest in J3U. You've got to. There's definitely like the best bodybuilding course out there. And even if you don't do, even if you're not a bodybuilding coach, just as far as nutrition and training goes and supplementation goes, it's very, very, very beneficial to take as a coach.
But they have the prep modules, the peak week modules, but then like the rest of the modules are all just general training, nutrition, sleep.
I took the I applied hypertrophy as well. It was solid. It's not really like course like though. It's just like a long video that you watch for every single muscle group.
Okay.
So it's pretty cool.
I watch a lot of stuff on YouTube for that. Yeah, I find the education space on Instagram and TikTok you should stay away from.
YouTube.
I'm leaning towards that kind of as my niche for posting. But if you really want to learn, go to YouTube, even podcasts, read research articles. Like people always ask me like, how do you learn about this stuff? And like just consume long form content from, reputable sources, or take courses like J3U, read research. You'll just pick up on things.
Who else do you listen to and take value from on YouTube, like bodybuilding wise?
I've been like binging Jonathan Warren right now, just about like biomechanics stuff. And I've been super interested in learning about like ECM model training, basically expansion compression model.
Oh, like chest expansion, chest compression, or like rib cage. Sorry.
Yeah. That was like trending for a while in like the science-based lifting thing. And it's basically this model. It's kind of game changing, kind of changing the way I train. I'm watching a lot of that.
Run me through that more. Like how has it changed the way you train? Just as far as like positioning goes on movements, or how has it changed the way you train?
But the old narrative was like, get a deep stretch, but we don't really know why, It's not actually about getting your arm back as far as possible, having your rib cage compressed. Essentially, you still get max length and tension on the chest. And then, right, there's always like a counter force. If you're pressing, you want to be pressing like away from the machine, if you think about it that way. Those are some good cues that really explain it, like everything expands and compresses. It's hard to explain really quickly, but check out Jonathan Warren.
Okay.
Learn more about that.
Yeah, one of the cues I use for like chest training is like cue long spine, like long spine, flat back, just with your chest expanded, chest proud. Making sure that your rib cage is in line with everything, because it's really easy for the front delts to take over in pressing movements, and triceps too as well. So that's something I've implemented. Has it changed other things as far as your training goes, or just like your chest movements and stuff like that, push movements?
Like pretty much everything, right? You want to be stacked, like your pelvis, chest, just like everything in line. It all starts kind of with your feet, having the weight on the balls of your feet, proper pelvic rotation, things like that. Like when you're doing an RDL, like your pelvis moves three-dimensionally. It's not just a hip hinge back and forth. It's not about like levers. You're actually doing some internal rotation as you hinge back. And that's really helped me like target my hamstrings doing SLDL.
That's awesome. As far as training and nutrition, run me through a couple things that you do diet wise just to, maximize all the variables that like a normal bodybuilder probably doesn't do per se.
Yeah, I do some pretty niche things.
Yeah, run me through those.
I would say I talk a lot about micronutrients. I've gotten a lot of bit of attention about that. So some things I incorporate are like different organ meats. I eat a lot of oysters for minerals. You'll see things like I'm not an advocate for any form of primal diet or anything like that, but more natural foods like organ meats are going to be much more nutrient dense that provide lots of things that are going to be beneficial for your entire physiology, really. And oysters, like you'll never see a bodybuilder eat oysters.
Yeah.
But as a natural, like you need zinc. So you can supplement zinc. Zinc biglycinate is really good. But watch out for zinc supplements because they can throw off your copper balance. Oysters also have lots of copper, so you don't have to worry about that. So like a couple times a week, if you eat oysters, they'll keep you really hydrated because hydration also happens at the cellular level. Like we said on peak week, if you're drinking a ton of water, water is a solvent. It's going to dehydrate you. It's going to flush out all your electrolytes. So bodybuilders, they're drinking like 4 liters of water a day, like a gallon and a half of water a day. That's actually dehydrating you if you don't get enough minerals or things to really draw the water in, like even carbs, right? So oysters as sort of a mineral supplement, you can also supplement minerals because oysters can be expensive. I try to get them on sale. That organ meats, so liver, like once a week, is going to have tons of micronutrients you need for that. I also eat, this is hard to get, but beef heart, a lot more nutrients.
That's CoQ10, right?
Yeah, coenzyme Q10. It's a good antioxidant. Has taurine, a lot of taurine, which is another good antioxidant. And that's another thing I supplement too. Oysters have lots of taurine as well, but that's something that's good to supplement pre-workout or get it from oysters and beef heart. And so many more B vitamins. And B vitamins mostly help your metabolism, simply put. So yeah, and it has the same macros as chicken breast.
Oyster?
Beef heart.
Oh, beef heart. Okay. Oh, wow. That's lean. That's good.
Muscle too, because people eat liver, and liver is pretty gross if you're not getting it like somewhere grass-fed, high quality.
I've had some good grass-fed beef liver. I've made just a stew out of it with mixed veggies. It was, I like all food, but yeah, definitely some people don't like that irony like taste or whatever it is.
Metallic. Some people say it tastes like chocolate.
Yeah, it's got to be all the iron in there, like the bloodiness,
Lots of iron, like just because it's so dense with nutrients, like it has a dense taste, if that makes sense. Yeah. But a lot of people could benefit from just more nutrient dense foods.
100%. Some nutrient dense foods I eat. I added in salmon recently, almost every day. I just get like some prepackaged wild caught frozen fillets. They're like little 4-ounce fillets, and I'll typically have one a day. Very important that you guys get wild caught and not farm raised.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That in.
So because I'm really trying to get as much omega-3s as possible. I haven't really been eating eggs recently. So I've been buying grass-fed ground beef, to get more omega-3s, and then salmon to get my omega-3s from. But before that, when I was on prep, I used to eat eggs every single day, right? I had 3 eggs a day in my meal plan, and I would make sure I bought, the corn-fed or sorry, the corn-free, soy-free, just like organic pasture-raised eggs from Sprouts, from a nice grocery store, just because, man, the egg yolk difference on those eggs versus white eggs is just astronomical. I've been there. I was a broke college student. A few years ago, I was buying the 60 pack of white eggs for $5 from Walmart. And let me tell you, it is so worth investing in, high quality foods, because it does make a difference. And you can literally see it, man. You can see it in the orange yolk versus the crappy yellow yolk. And you can see it in the grass-fed ground beef that is about 10 shades darker than crappy, corn, soy, ground beef. So I think it's just such cope when people say that buying higher quality food items doesn't matter, because it makes a huge difference. And especially when you're on a prep, when you're on lower calories, you want to get as much, micronutrients and omega-3s as possible from the little food that you are consuming.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because with less calories, you have less chance of getting these micronutrients. So, especially in a deficit, it's when you want to be consuming more of it. Because no matter how many calories you eat as well, if your metabolism isn't working properly, you're not producing as much energy, right? So, you can build your body with the macronutrients, but how it runs is based on the micronutrients, is a way to say it. And yeah, what the animal eats, it definitely does matter. What's interesting about eggs is the color, because some chickens, like the omega-3 eggs, they're fed flaxseed, which actually turns it more orange, I believe. Okay. So, and that's more ALA omega-3s, which ALA is an essential fatty acid, because it's supposed to be converted to EPA, DHA, omega-3, which you get from salmon or fish oil supplements. But ALA is really poorly converted. So that's why you need to be eating EPA, DHA fatty acids. So there's ALA in the omega-3 eggs. That's why omega-3 eggs, I wouldn't really count as omega-3, because it's ALA. And the color matters less than how thick the like outer egg white membrane is, because you crack an egg, there's a thick egg white. So it's mostly the height of the yolk and the thickness of this second egg white membrane. It's just something interesting I learned about quality of eggs, because I get decently high quality eggs, like from Costco, the organic ones, but the egg whites, the egg yolk is more yellow rather than orange, but it's still decently high quality. And yeah, there's lots more nutrients in grass-fed, dairy, beef, salmon. That salmon is the highest toxin food if it's not wild caught. Even wild caught salmon can have microplastics, some trace heavy metals.
Sad, bro. Our oceans are so polluted.
Just the pollution of the oceans. But I eat salmon almost every day still. Wild caught sockeye. Great macros too.
You ever had sometimes? So, dude, I don't know how the chicken is in Canada, but the chicken is very, very poor quality here in the States, man. Like, unless you go to this one grocery store or like a farmer's market called Whole Foods, bro, you're not getting high quality chicken. That's not, soaked in bleach. That's not, fed horrible feed. So I honestly have been trying to avoid chicken now. So what I've been doing for my lean meat, obviously sometimes I'll run 99.1 ground turkey. That's a staple. But I've been trying to get a lot more efficient. So I've been running wild caught mahi. It's essentially, white fish that's pretty much fat free. Have you ever run mahi?
I've never really done white fish, but there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Sockeye salmon is like 40 grams of protein, 6 grams of fat.
Yeah, that's pretty lean.
So pretty go-to macros. But yeah, chicken. And the things they feed chickens is all so they're getting all the polyunsaturated fats that you would get from these seeds and corn and soy that they're feeding chickens. So that's why cows, ruminants with 4 stomachs, they actually process out the fat. So you're getting less linoleic acid in the actual fatty tissue. Same as if you're a human, if you eat more polyunsaturated fats, like even fish, but like seed oils, they say, is really controversial. I don't think you need to avoid seed oils, but know that you're getting more polyunsaturated fats in your cells. That's another reason people anecdotally sunburn more when you eat polyunsaturated fats rather than saturated fats, because they oxidize more easily. It's more mechanistic, really, this debate, rather than outcome based, because you see a lot of outcomes around seed oils and they're fine. But, you know, mechanistically, they oxidize more. So you're getting more polyunsaturated fats in chicken breast or pork because they're monogastric animals and they're not eating a natural diet, which is interesting.
What would chickens eat naturally? Like if they weren't, you know, fed this way, is it grass? What do they eat naturally?
It's like bugs.
Bugs.
They're somewhat carnivorous. They'll eat like smaller animals. I don't know if they like hunt, but mostly bugs, just natural things, not really things we grow to feed them, you know?
Mm-hmm. Okay. What do you think about all the heavy metals and arsenic supposedly that's in rice?
That's mostly brown rice.
Mostly brown rice.
One of the best processed foods is white rice because we get rid of the shell. It's just an easily digestible starch once you cook it. So I wouldn't worry about white rice. Brown rice cakes are actually, like rice cakes or brown rice, but yeah, there's a certain level of arsenic that you kind of filter out.
Yeah.
So if you're in the safe limit, I really wouldn't worry. I eat rice cakes all the time.
Okay. Let's see. Well, do you try to always buy, you know, organic fruits and vegetables simply to avoid the pesticides? I don't know how food quality is up in Canada, but dude, if you're buying a fruit or vegetable down here and it's not organic, that thing is doused in pesticides. And I noticed a night and day difference in my gut once I switched from non-organic vegetables to organic vegetables, specifically frozen ones too, because they're picked at a better time. And yeah, dude, like oats, vegetables down here, all this stuff is just doused in like glyphosate and other pesticides. So I noticed a huge improvement when I switched to organic, higher quality produce, just simply not because it's better for you. It's just not sprayed with the same pesticides and stuff like that, supposedly.
Yeah, well, we have different regulations for organic, Canada versus there, but we actually get a lot of food from the US. So some of our organic food is from the US. Now, a lot of people anecdotally notice, you know, pesticides disrupting their gut, which can be very true. All of our oats are sprayed with glyphosate. You know,
Yeah.
beet gets in the honey as well. What's interesting though is that there have been tests on organic foods, and because organic foods are still sprayed with pesticides,
I've heard that. Yeah.
different ones that they're allowed to label as organic. So it's hard to get pesticide-free food. Costco here, they sell wild blueberries with no pesticides.
That's good.
Costco actually has really good food options. You know, most bodybuilders go there. So there's also like glyphosate-free oats.
Yep. I always sure.
Differences. Yeah.
I make sure everyone's off the Quakers. I make sure all my clients are off the Quakers. And dude, people notice like an immediate difference, at least from what I've been told. And I have always stuck to either, you know, the farmers we know, the Bob's Red Mill, or the Coach's glyphosate-free oats.
Yeah. Just like lots of grocery store foods, you know, everything is processed. Even meat. Like we're saying chicken, you know, they pump chicken beef full of water.
Yeah.
They like, you know, there's nitrates in a lot of beef. There's it starts with an E. It's not coming off the top of my head. It's another like preservative. They preserve the color. It's all processed food, like, right? So even meat is not natural. So getting it from high quality sources is really going to be the best to just optimize your physiology, optimize your physique, right? They're more 1% differences, but they do add up like 1% every day.
100%. Yeah, and it will when you're eating a lot of it too, I feel like it makes a huge difference. Like, dude, imagine if you're just ingesting, tons of, farm raised fish every single day versus wild caught, the differences that's going to make in your body. But the biggest difference that something I've been prioritizing recently is water, right? We ingest more water than any type of food. So obviously I'm never going to be perfect, but I've been doing my best to avoid any type of plastic water bottle or microplastics when I can. And then just do my best to always just drink out of my reverse osmosis filter at home, or when I'm out, try to buy, higher quality glass bottles, which, have been shown to even still have some stuff in them. But, if I figure if you can, avoid plastic and avoid poor quality water, tap water, especially down here in the States, is horrible. It can make a huge difference over time.
Yeah, everyone's so particular about their food, but they like go drink tap water.
Yeah.
And, obviously you can't make tap water ideal, optimal for everybody to drink. That would be so expensive. So, if you really want peak performance, you need to be doing these little optimizations. You're so particular about the food you eat, about your macros, you may as well be about the quality of your food as well. Water, even air pollution is real. There's pollutants everywhere. So, being the best you can be is just doing what you can. Like, I think Icelandic water, Voss water are some of the best bottled brands, but reverse osmosis is also the best way to clean your water.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have one under my sink. That's where I fill up. It's just the best purchase ever. But, sometimes I think, I'll be like out, say I'm filling up water at the gym, and I'm like, I hope this water's clean. Hope this water isn't full of fluoride and chlorine. Because it's down here in the US, man, dude, it's bad.
There's actually like a store near me, a health food store, and they have a fountain there. So I have my gallon jug that I fill at their reverse osmosis fountain.
Dude, that's awesome.
It's great. Yeah.
Speaking of the air quality thing, yeah, I've seen some stuff about that. I definitely want to get like one of those air doctors for my room eventually to purify the air when I can make that investment.
Yeah, and people are like using lots of synthetic fragrances too, which are more endocrine disruptors.
Yep.
If you're natural, this is a very real thing, disrupting your endocrine system. If you're using fragrances, or you have family or like a girlfriend always wearing perfume around you, I walk through the gym and just get like bombarded by synthetic fragrances. Like, it's almost like secondhand smoke.
Dude,
all these disruptors, people are spraying on themselves, like car filters. All these things can affect your natural hormones.
Oh, the car filters are bad, dude. Those things are strong. I get a headache when I'm in a car that has, the scented car filters.
Yeah, or like Ubers.
Yeah.
It's like nothing you can do, but
that's a good topic though, because not a lot of people talk about that in the bodybuilding industry. I'll go into some stuff I do, and then you should go into some stuff you do. But definitely, I'd use like a clean fluoride-free toothpaste. My next investment will be a bamboo toothbrush, so I'm not brushing my teeth with microplastics, because I still have a normal electric toothbrush. Clean body washes, of course, that's not filled with dyes and a bunch of chemicals. Clean deodorant. I'm using like one of those magnesium based clean deodorants as well. No colors, no fragrances, just like the magnesium, and then any fragrance would be just an essential oil instead of the endocrine disrupting fragrances that are in like cologne and stuff like that. And then I hardly wear cologne unless it's a special occasion. I know there's some clean colognes out there, but I haven't found one that I've invested in quite yet. Water, yeah, we already talked about that. Oh, even facial products. Yeah, having a clean lotion that you put on your face. Imagine just rubbing like fragrances and toxic chemicals over your face every single day if you're using a poor quality, like, cheap lotion. I think that's definitely huge. pretty much anything you put on your body. If you guys are truly, trying to build your peak natural physique, and you care about your hormones, you care about your health, you care about your how you feel, I'm telling you, invest into some sort of cleaner type of shampoo, lotion, whatever it is, because a lot of stuff that's out there, man, it gives you a headache for a reason. Like, I know everybody listening to this has definitely experienced a headache or two from getting fragrance bombs. So those are just a couple things I do. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Cleaning products, dude. That's another one. You definitely, guys, like, everyone's gotten a headache from trash like Febreze or whatever you use. Definitely opt for using. I use like the Method clean stuff, just because it's not filled with toxic chemicals for you. So I think that's pretty much it. What about you, Liam?
Yeah, I can definitely think of a few more. Right, so important if you're natural again, because
underwear, cotton underwear, bro.
all clothes, right? Even clothes, your laundry detergent, like
Yeah.
you just said, cleaning stuff. But yeah, plastics from like dry fit clothes, and also the heat, like the heat of your balls. You want to keep them cool. So when they're more insulated with basically plastic clothing, they're not going to stay as cool. You're going to absorb plastic. Like, right, we all have microplastics in our balls.
Got to be rocking the organic Jaguars, 100% cotton, baby.
Yeah, that's a serious thing. What else? Something that's interesting is electromagnetic fields.
Oh, go into that, because I'm not too educated on EMFs, but I do have a friend who's always telling me, dude, don't wear wireless headphones. It's like, avoid EMFs.
Yeah, what's happening to the wired ones?
Yeah.
It's somewhat controversial. It's like non-ionizing radiation, but it is still bad. It does still disrupt your physiology, especially because we all have a magnetic field. Like, we all conduct electricity in our bodies. That's how we run. That's how we conduct nerve signals. That's how our metabolism produces electricity. So having these frequencies around you disrupts your magnetic field, and it disrupts the electrical charge in your body, basically in your cells. And it kind of just, there's studies that show when they're like, if you have this in your pocket, my phone's been on this whole time. It can kill cells. It can disrupt sperm and possibly testosterone. So a good thing you can do is turn your phone on airplane mode, and make sure Bluetooth is off. And then, you can put an EMF reader to that, and there'll be nothing. Same thing, AirPods, they conduct through each other. They disrupt your brain cells. So having wired headphones, turning Wi-Fi off at night, or like using Ethernet on your computer is better. And another thing you can also do is grounding outside in the grass. This can kind of, dispel positive static charge from your body that's accumulated from EMFs or static in general, like dry air outside in the winter. Touching grass is actually really good for you.
It feels good, dude. I feel good when I'm barefoot in the grass, the sun's coming up. It feels good. Like, you can feel it.
Yeah, it just, it changes your physiology for the better. It's a more natural state, and you'll be healthier. You'll have better performance. You'll have a better physique because you do stuff like that. What else is there?
I did. So my friend that's into the avoiding EMFs, I haven't even attempted to do any research into that, but he did tell me the NFL team, I think it's the Los Angeles Rams or whatever, their stadium is super close to a big, power plant or something like that produces a lot of EMFs, like an electrical power plant is down. They're down the street from it, and when they built this new stadium that's right there, they are now it's their training facility. Sorry, they switched training facilities, right, where they have practice every single day. The stadium, they're just in there for games, right, and their practice facility Now they have gone to the #1 injured team. And coincidentally, their new practice facility is right next to a huge like EMF electrical hub.
That's really interesting. Yeah, and I myself haven't done too much research into a lot of actual evidence for this, but it's another one of those things like mechanistically it makes sense. It's not good for you. Another one I want to touch on is blue light, because I've seen you with the blue light blockers.
You know it. You know it.
No, your diet is so good. Now you're drinking filtered water, but what's your light diet like? You know, you're consuming all this artificial light that disrupts your sleep cycle, your circadian rhythm. You know, it increases cortisol at night. So if you really want to fully optimize your physique, you want to be getting as good a sleep as possible. You want to have as much energy during the day as possible. So, you know, blocking this really stimulating light at night is going to help you sleep a lot better, as well as flickering lights too. That's another thing. Even with the blockers on, lights flicker. That can also increase cortisol a bit. And it's just another 1% optimization, but you know, LEDs, things like that.
I mean, dude, you can literally tell like if I were to, if I'm adjusted to them, it's nighttime, everything's kind of dark, and I peel the glasses down and just get like blasted with the computer screen, it wakes you up. Like it's you can literally like feel it. So
Yeah,
dude, no wonder, kids that are just scrolling on TikTok all night in their bed, getting dopamine hit after dopamine hit with the blue light blasting their eyes, can't fall asleep in bed, man. Like it's no wonder, people struggle to fall asleep and blast themselves with 20 milligrams of melatonin to fall asleep every night.
yeah. Dopamine's another thing. It's the precursor to adrenaline, essentially. So, right, doing really stimulating things at night is kind of going to spike your adrenaline.
Yeah. I hit legs yesterday in the evening, not even too late, just more so at like 5 p.m., right? Which is later in the day than my typical mid-morning training, right? And guess what? I didn't go to bed like when I normally do. I stayed up like 2 hours later than I normally do, just from getting so amped up and doing so much strenuous activity later in the day.
Yeah, super important to have like a wind down routine as a bodybuilder, because sleep is so important, right? So the blue light glasses, whatever routine you like. I like to foam roll before bed.
Okay.
Journaling, anything to wind down, I think. You know, as a bodybuilder, you don't want to be scrolling in bed. This is another thing a lot of bodybuilders don't notice, is that it's not just about training and nutrition. There's this whole other lifestyle aspect to it too. Like if your wind down routine is scrolling in front of blue light, you're not going to be as good as you can be as a bodybuilder.
Do you use anything to track your sleep?
I don't really need to, because you know it's pretty good anyways.
Uh,
I've tried an Apple Watch before. It's a bit distracting too.
yeah,
Like
I will say
my sleep.
there is a psychological aspect of tracking sleep, because if it tells you, your HRV is low, you got a bad night of sleep, you're not in the green or whatever, you didn't sleep as long, then mentally you may go into your training session not expecting as good of a session, which can cause you to not have as good as a session because you're limited by your own self-limiting beliefs.
Yeah, and then the other aspect, if it tells you you got a terrible sleep, but oh, I feel super energized, I feel completely fine, I'm ready to train, but it's telling me I'm not ready to train. Like,
Yeah.
is it actually changing any decision making based on that data?
Yeah.
So I find it as a very useful variable to track, because it doesn't really change any decisions. So
Yeah.
when it comes to tracking data like that, it's mostly what you need to make decisions, right? You know, tracking like blood glucose, even, it doesn't change much decision making. So I tend to not worry about those kind of things.
Yeah. No, honestly, sleep is just like it for me. It just helps me stay dialed because it like I want to get a good score every night. But I'm pretty good at not letting it emotionally affect me. But I've had some clients where, they wake up, and with a poor score and they start, dude, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? And they let it affect them too much. The biggest tool a trackable, a wearable device provides for me is my steps, because steps are law when it comes to maintaining the shreds, building muscle, getting shredded. Because, dude, if your expenditure is not where you want it to be every single day, and you're not able to accurately track your steps, you're missing out on a lot. 100%.
Gotta keep it consistent. Even insulin sensitivity in a surplus.
Mhm.
But right, you're eating your calories. You have this net energy balance, but then one day you get 5,000 less steps, right? That kind of completely changes your energy balance. So I've been wearing a pedometer because I don't
Oh, yeah.
know.
How many steps do you aim for on average per day?
I've been getting like 20,000 lately because I'm just grinding. I'm grinding my walk pad.
Are you cutting or anything, or do you just do that so it allows you to eat more on the bulk? Because that's a lot, bro. I'm on like 10K right now.
Yeah, there's a while I was like crashing out post show
Mm-hmm.
and getting like 3,000 a day. It was terrible. But
Weight was up, huh?
Hmm?
Did weight just skyrocket from that?
Oh yeah, I basically ruined my physique.
Happens.
For most of my videos, I don't I use my post show physique or when I was on prep. So, I'm not being fake, but it's just a good hook for my videos.
Yeah.
I'll post my physique sometimes on my stories, but
How much weight are you up from your show?
I was up like plus 40 pounds.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Right now I'm up like plus 25.
Okay, that's solid. Yeah, I'm up plus 20.
Yeah. I look fine right now. I'll probably cut a bit for summer, just like a little cleanup phase.
Clean up.
Or like a big push for 2027.
Hell yeah.
I'm pretty dialed again though. But I saw you post about binging post show, the rebound phase after your first show.
So my first show, it actually almost happens to everybody. You're kind of weird if it doesn't happen to you, unless you have a really good coach. Like me, I keep all my clients super, super accountable, and I have systems in play for that. And I harp on them a ton because I know how hard it is from personal experience.
Be ready before
Yeah,
expect it to happen because I wasn't expecting it, and that's why it's so important.
A lot of it is how your prep goes, right? If you have a nice, long, chill prep where I have a client that gets to coast into their show, everything's phenomenal, right? They're going to be way less in a state where they just start binging, right? Because they're not going to have been on that low of food. But guys where I have to shotgun prep them and they're doing high cardio, low food, they are much more susceptible to extreme binging because of the extreme restriction that took place. Basically, the more restriction you have to have in your prep, the more, the harder it's going to be post-show. So I've had to work with a lot of guys, but my number one tip is honestly just setting yourself up for a long, smooth prep where you don't have to be on super low calories, because then coming off post-show, you just get right back on meal plan. But I've competed multiple times now. Obviously, that was back when I was just GABE and I did my first show. I didn't have a coach post-show to keep me accountable. So I was so hungry that in my head, I was like, I'd rather be fat and just satisfy my desires. I literally didn't care about getting fat because of how hungry I was after that first OCB show. But then, afterwards, these most recent NPC natural shows where I'm Coach Gabe now, and I know how to hold myself accountable and I know what systems I need in play. I just was able to nail the reverse diet, gain like a quick 10 pounds just to get my body back to homeostasis, bump the cals up from the low 1,700 cals I was at. And then since then, I've just been slowly climbing up at a pretty slow rate. And then I gained another 10 pounds, nice and slow over the next 4 months post show. So it's been a smooth, slow climb. And now I'm kind of just sitting at plus 20 pounds and kind of just maintaining that and growing from there. Now that my body's in a good spot for training and I'm strong again and I got my numbers back up. But I know exactly what it's like. And the number one tip, like a system that I would give for someone to put in play if they really struggle with binging post show, because dude, you can't even describe how high the hunger gets, man. It's like you're a never ending pit. The number one thing you can do is not eat late at night. I have seen all my personal like ravenous hunger episodes come in the nighttime. And so something you can do is you can have a set cutoff time rule where you literally don't eat past that time and you hold yourself to that like it's life or death. So that could be like 6 p.m. You could tell yourself, after 6 p.m., I do not eat. No matter what happens, life or death, I do not eat past 6 p.m. And that can help a ton, because in all reality, bro, who binges in the middle of the day? Like, who binges in the morning?
I just
Dude,
all day, not gonna lie.
all day, every day. And then the next rule is once you finish your meal, I would say to just leave the house and go for a walk, bro. Finish your meal, throw the dishes in the sink, and get out of the kitchen and go for a walk. And that helps a ton. Also, sparkling waters help me a ton. Like, I'd chug like 6 sparkling waters a day, just
Gum too, chewing gum.
carbonation to fill up my stomach.
Yeah. No, and having set meals and just not snacking after, because I feel like, for me, it was like, oh, I'll eat a bit of extra fruit after my meal because I can.
Uh-huh.
Whole kitchen.
Yeah.
Pretty
What
much.
if you so you would binge on clean food at least?
Pretty much. Like at the start, it's just like I just wanted to eat foods I wasn't allowed to eat for so long.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of different strategies.
For me, I just get really crazy food noise and get like hyper obsessed over like random restaurants that I want to try, or like
so many on prep. Like I just saved all of them in my phone. Never went to any.
It's pretty bad the first 2 months post show. Like, I remember, dude, I'd just be driving anywhere I'm driving, right? Whether it's the gym, whether it's church, I don't know. I just like will drive by restaurants or food places and they just like catch your eye and then you can't stop thinking about them. Or I'd like walk up and down the grocery store just like looking at all the snacks, the healthy snacks or like foods I wanted to try that looked good. So food noise is very, very strong. One of the best things you can do is just have like a set. I would say maybe you're having like one free meal a week post show. Like, have a set. That's your one, and you cannot go past that for the life of you. I think just holding yourself to like set rules can really help a ton, where you keep that promise to yourself no matter what. Because when you start allowing yourself little things, next thing you know, it just turns into a whole binge from my experience.
Yeah. And don't compensate for it either. Don't go do extra cardio. I was training twice a day and doing like 2 hours of cardio. Like, I was like losing muscle, man. I was getting fat and getting weaker because I would like binge. I was like, okay, I'm going to go train it off.
Yeah, dude, that's a good topic. I'm sure a lot of other people can relate to that. What else? Like, how long did this last for you?
Like a long time, or like, I'd go a couple weeks good and then I'd relapse, right?
Okay.
Especially not competing for a while. Like I haven't binged for a long time now. I'm kind of recomping where I'm at, or I have recomped quite a bit already. But it was really bad the first month. First month was like maybe first 2 months was like complete binging. Like my physique was completely ruined 2 months after.
Dang.
And I'd also lost some muscle, I felt like, on prep, just due to probably some over dieting. Just
what was the lowest your cals got?
So I was landscaping, like pushing the lawnmower all day, remember?
Yep. How many steps and how many cals?
I'd probably like 25,000 steps with a lawnmower.
Okay.
And lowest ever was like 2100.
Okay, yeah, that's not too low.
It wasn't too low, but I was feeling it. Like
That's a lot of steps. Yeah.
I was pretty lean, like 10 weeks out from my first show already. So, hunger hormones were already there, like for months on end of hunger hormones. And I already binged after regionals. I wasn't even really planning on going to nationals. I just did so well. I was like, hey, I have to go to nationals now. After I binged, put on like almost 20 pounds. And I had to lose
I had
that
to lose that again.
for my next show. And then I just continued that momentum and over dieted a bit without a second set of eyes. Was a bit hard, like with that body dysmorphia aspect, coaching yourself for the first time. So yeah, pretty much over dieted, and then like really crashed out after the show, but learned good lessons from it. And now I also learned how to help other people. I learned the strategies to fix it. And that's actually really beneficial as a coach, I find, being able to empathize with people who are going through that. And now knowing these strategies ourselves, how to actually recover from this binge phase, because you dig yourself in a hole and it's like you can't get out. I felt like
You'll be and then dude, now that you're not a rookie anymore, now it's not your first show, you'll be dialed for your next season because you'll know how to mitigate it as well.
yeah, and it's also never having that initial binge that sets you off the rails.
Yeah.
It's like have a nice social meal, it's a celebration, but there's a stigma around prep that after you're allowed to crash out.
Yeah.
But no, you have to stay on plan. Like you don't just get to crash out after, or you're like watching like mukbangs on Instagram Reels. Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be able to do this after. Like, no, you're not gonna be able to do that.
Only if you want to gain 30, 40 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
So yeah, gotta stick to plan. Like day after.
I think last little niche topic I want to cover as far as optimizing nutrition goes is insulin sensitivity, because we touched on it a little bit, but I wanted to ask, do you have any supplements in play for yourself? Do you use berberine HCl? Do you use any, things to help you stay insulin sensitive? Do you use any like micronutrients to try to optimize your thyroid and things of that nature, like selenium? Walk me through that for you.
Yeah, insulin sensitivity. The biggest driver is body fat and activity. I never do berberine.
Yeah, you don't really need it unless you're enhanced.
But you don't really need glucose disposal agents. Like you should, especially if you're natural, right? You're not like taking growth hormone.
Yeah.
Like that. You should just have proper insulin sensitivity. You shouldn't have excessive body fat. Excessive body fat is a huge driver of, hormonal imbalances. So that's one of the main things I'll do. Like even in a muscle growth phase, first thing you got to do is draw body fat to really regain that insulin sensitivity and, have proper hormones. But I mean, for muscle growth, training is the main driver. Anyways, micronutrients for insulin sensitivity, definitely chromium is an underrated mineral. It's actually an insulin cofactor.
What foods are rich in that?
Oysters.
Any nuts that are rich in that?
Not really. It's actually really hard to get. I think it's in whole grains, but you can't really eat whole grains. We don't eat them as bodybuilders. We eat more refined carbs like bread and rice, which, flour is stripped of micronutrients. And we refortify it with, synthetic nutrients, usually like enriched flour. That's what that is.
Yeah, I just looked it up. It says grapes and orange juice, like grape juice and orange juice, are pretty high in chromium.
Yeah, that's a really good one for insulin sensitivity. Optimizing your thyroid, really energy balance and eating enough carbs. You'll see like keto, carnivore guys, their thyroid is shot. want to be eating enough carbs. A lot of bodybuilders, if they eat like 0 fructose, you're not eating any fruit or honey, your liver glycogen may not be optimized. It's good to, unless you're in a hard fat loss phase. If you're eating at maintenance, it's good to incorporate some fructose for the liver glycogen.
I typically have like the frozen mixed berries in every single one of my clients' meal plans, man, just to get a variety of, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries, and all the micronutrients those entail, and then the fructose as well.
Yeah, they got lots of antioxidants. Blackberries, I think they have good vitamin E. Yeah, fructose before your workout, before bed, just really to top off your liver glycogen. That's gonna have a huge benefit for a lot of things, including thyroid output. Iodine, you literally need to make thyroid hormones. Animal protein as well, with the amino acid ratios, is more ideal than other kind of vegan sources of protein with different ratios of amino acids for the thyroid. And yeah, selenium is super important for thyroid.
Yeah, I added like Brazil nuts into a couple clients' meal plans just to try to bump up their thyroid, because they're super rich in that.
Yeah, my T3 is actually like off the charts last time I got my blood work.
Hey.
Not off the charts. You actually don't want T3 to be too high. But I find the reference range is a bit low sometimes. So it is above the reference range, but you definitely want to be optimizing your thyroid. Just, you don't want hyperthyroid. You'll be super skinny. Burn too much energy. You might burn muscle.
That's one of the things I just wanted to touch on, because I see a lot of people, they kind of want to throw around, they kind of use insulin sensitivity as like a marketing thing, like as if, they know something, like the metabolism fitness coaches, bro, like as if they know something that's going to get you shredded that other coaches don't talk about. But what people don't talk about is that, dude, if you're a natural, you don't eat like an idiot, and you're somewhat lean, I promise you, you are insulin sensitive. The guys that have to worry about going insulin resistant are guys on gear, specifically ones running growth hormone. So yeah, as long as you aren't eating, stupid cheat meals that are super high in fat and carbs every single night, you're going to be insulin sensitive as a lean natural.
Yeah, especially if you train, especially if you count your steps. It's not something to worry about, and you definitely don't need like glucose disposal agents, any sort of berberine supplements.
Yeah, I will say I have used berberine and like a GDA just because I bought some, and I didn't really notice too much of a difference. Like I would take them before, I would take them with my high carb days on prep, right? Going from eating, like 150 grams of carbs to like 450. I would use it just for my high carb days. And then like in the off season, I would use it for free meals, right? If I'm going out to eat or something like that. And I honestly didn't even notice too much of a difference. The biggest difference, like supplementation wise, I noticed that you can take with meals is I do notice a pretty big difference with like a high quality digestive enzyme, having that in there with big meals. You can definitely tell a difference. And then, something that is huge for digestion that people don't talk about too much is not drinking like a ton of liquids with your food, like as you're chewing it, waiting till like after. So yeah, that's made a pretty big difference in my digestion.
Yeah. And right, with the berberine, if you have a massive cheat meal, then fair enough.
Yeah.
Even walking after a meal will have the exact same effect
Yeah.
of berberine. It just activates AMPK basically, which walking and training also does. It allows you to uptake carbs without the need for insulin, really. But yeah, digestion, mostly gut health. Preventing the overgrowth of gram-negative bacteria or pathogens or things like that. You can mitigate the amount of iron you eat. That's usually in fortified foods. It actually feeds, pathogens and negative bacteria in the gut. Lower FODMAPs for some people. But fiber is also really important. Insoluble fiber will really improve your intestinal motility. A lot of people don't eat enough insoluble fiber and soluble fiber as well to feed good bacteria. It really depends. The gut is really interesting, and it's really hard to conduct studies on the gut because we don't know exactly what affects what. But
I want to get my map test done one day.
Yeah, gut health is super important, and supplements are like extra 1%, but really nailing the basics, especially as a natural, is like the most you can do, really. Supplements is a lot of marketing, I find, where, like you were saying, on social media, people somewhat overhype things, or they overemphasize problems that need to be solved, when really, if you get the basics done, you won't have that problem.
Yeah, 100%. 100%, my man. Well, I appreciate you coming on today. Where can everyone find you? What's your ats? What's your Instagram and social medias?
I'm at _Liam Gordon _ on Instagram. I'm at LG Lifts on TikTok. Starting my YouTube pretty soon. I'll be doing some long form education stuff. Some people are asking for full day of eating. Maybe I'll do some type of vlog stuff. We'll see in the future. But I will be explaining everything I talked about. My first video I'm working on is basically explaining every micronutrient.
Mm-hmm.
People have been asking me for that. So I think it's at Liam Gordon 1 on YouTube. And I do offer one-on-one coaching. Link is in my bio on Instagram, but you can always DM me there.
What last question I think I just thought of. What fermented foods do you have in your diet? Do you run kimchi or sauerkraut ever?
Sauerkraut. I've actually been making my own kefir.
Okay.
Basically get the kefir grain. It's like lactic acid bacteria and yeast. So I put it in a jar, sealed, minimal oxygen, to ferment the lactic acid bacteria, ferment the lactose in the milk, basically, into lactic acid, and basically feed these lactic acid bacteria, which is good for the gut. I think probiotics are beneficial for the microbiome. There's lots of controversy on this, but in this kefir I make, there's basically trillions of colonies, where some supplements there's only billions. So there's a lot of beneficial microorganisms. And sauerkraut, I actually tried making my own sauerkraut, which is funny. I had to throw it out though because it got. But fermented foods definitely you should include sauerkraut, kimchi, kefir, coconut kefir if you're vegan. That's another story. Or if you don't tolerate dairy. I mean, kefir doesn't have much lactose because it's all been fermented into lactic acid and perhaps ethanol by the yeast, but that's great for the gut as well.
Yeah, I love throwing in some kimchi or sauerkraut to like meat and rice meals. It adds a lot of flavor and it's very beneficial
too.
What'd you say?
Yeah, that's volume too. If you're cutting,
Yeah.
I really like sauerkraut.
I'll buy a kombucha here and there too from the store, which is great.
They're tasty.
They are good. I like the taste of them.
Like 0 calorie. It's like a 0 calorie drink too.
Yeah, if you just have to get the 0 sugar one.
Yeah.
There's some that have sugar and they all have like 70, 80 calories. But yeah, other than that. Caffeine. How do you take pre-workout? How do you feel about caffeine? Are you like a black coffee only type of guy? I know we both care about our sleep, so we definitely don't ever ramp up our caffeine usage too high. But what's your preferred caffeine method?
Yeah, I think caffeine's actually really great for your focus, your attention. It's a good fat burner too. It's a great stimulant. It reduces your perception of effort in the gym. I usually stick to black coffee, or usually caffeine pills. I'll take like a 200 milligram caffeine pill. You can take pre-workout too. There's obviously the added ingredients, which are really not bad for you. It's kind of controversial, their effects on your gut, like artificial sweeteners. Artificial colors objectively aren't pretty. good for you, but at the end of the day, that's just like another 1% optimization you can do, cutting out artificial colors. But I usually do black coffee or caffeine pills along with other pre-workout supplements. So I'll usually take it before fasted cardio, and that'll just like get my sympathetic drive up for the rest of the day until I train, and I'll kind of wind down after training, you know?
Uh-huh. That's sick. Yeah, I take pre-workout. Obviously, I definitely do try to avoid dyes and caramel color and artificial colors, but artificial sweeteners don't seem to bother me at all from my personal use of them. And I think that they're fine in moderation. So I'll take pre or I'll drink energy drinks like that. But I definitely do notice that when my caffeine usage gets too high, I've abused caffeine many a times. I've ramped up my numbers pretty high, as I'm sure everyone that lifts has at some point. But I do notice like some anxiety and that constant like urgency, like just anxious feeling that I get from too high of caffeine, which I really don't like. And it's not really the best for digestion either. Because one of the keys to digestion is being in a like calm rest and digest state. And so,
right, yeah, I get a lot of sympathetic drive out of caffeine. A good rule is let your natural cortisol peak in the morning. So like 45 minutes. I'd usually wait an hour if you can. I mean, sometimes I do fasted cardio early, so it'll be like 30 minutes, but go outside and see the sun, let your natural cortisol peak, and take caffeine in the morning. It'll also increase your BMR throughout the day if you're trying to lose fat. But again, right, maybe not good for digestion. If you're in a growth phase, if you're really just...
Yeah, it takes away appetite too.
Yeah. So, it could be beneficial if you're in a fat loss phase. You want to be burning fat all day. You don't want to be eating as much. You want to still get stuff done with lower calories. But I would say like 6, ideally 8 hours. Don't take it before bed either.
Yeah. I had a client who couldn't get his meals in, cut out his caffeine, boom, easy fix, bro. Easy fix. Some people, it really does stunt your appetite. If I take a high stim pre-workout, man, like post training, my caffeine or my appetite will be really, really stunted, honestly.
Yeah, mine's still super high from prep even now. Like,
yeah,
mine's like it's gone down since like the binge phase, but it's still crazy. I'll eat all my meals in like 2 seconds.
That's why it's so important to take time off before you compete again. Imagine having to do another prep right now and having to diet where your hunger is already this high. Like, dude,
this year I'd be 15 weeks out.
Yeah.
Like, my relationship with food has been so bad till now. Like, there's so many things you have to have in order before you have a serious prep. Like your relationship with food, your hormones, everything like that. Lots of things.
Yeah. Dude, I'm like 5 months post show and my hunger's still high. Like, I'm hungry for every meal. It's crazy how it is, man. Like, if you're always competing, guys, I highly suggest against it. You're going to have to diet on lower and lower calories each time. But B, man, imagine just how miserable you'd be going into a prep with your hunger hormones still elevated and through the roof. Like, oof. Definitely I recommend taking at least 1 year off and then going into it again at the minimum. Me personally, just because of the goals I have, I'm taking 2 years off before I even start a prep again. But I typically recommend always like 1 year at the minimum. Usually does the job. But like I said, it's always on a case-by-case basis.
Yeah, all your hormones, right? As a natural, I think like the reverse phase done properly is even slightly different than enhanced because you need a little bit of body fat to really put on a productive amount of muscle. So, to get there, right, it's a bit different than if you're enhanced. And the debt you take on your hormones like that, without replacing them as a natural, I'm sure everyone's been there, where you just have no libido, no drive.
Yeah.
In life, right? Your entire drive is like about food when you're that deep into prep.
Yeah, it is. And just trying to sleep, dude, going to bed so early just so you can wake up and eat the next day. going to bed so you don't have to think about food. It's crazy, man. It's pushing yourself to the extreme and definitely should not be done all the time.
Yeah, it's definitely a phase to go through and that you need to recover from and have enough of a recovery period to do it properly again. That's what I think.
It's fun though. That's why we love it.
I do love it. Yeah.
Yes. I appreciate your love for natural bodybuilding, my man. Appreciate you coming on. That's a wrap.
You too, bro.